And now, from the Conservative Declaration, here is Griff and Gordon.
I get sick and tired of hearing people always proclaiming, I have the right, I have the right. Especially when the people you hear saying this the most don't know the first thing about rights. Benjamin Rush said in 1786, education is favorable to liberty. Freedom can only exist in a society of knowledge. Without learning, men are incapable of knowing their rights, and where learning is confined to a few people, liberty can neither be equal nor universal. And that's just it. We're losing our country little by little when the vast majority of Americans don't know the difference between a right and a privilege is. Make no mistake, it is important for every single American to know what their rights are so that they can protect their freedoms and their personal liberties as Americans. Part of being able to decipher what your rights are is knowing by definition what a right is. Without a defined root meaning to every word, our language and ability to communicate is nothing but arbitrary, involuntary spasms. Free speech, education, guns. What do we have the rights to? And which of these are privileges? Healthcare is the big one I hear a lot of people yapping about in this election season. But do we really have the right to healthcare? Listen intently as I read for you word for word what the definition of a right is. Then listen in contrast to what the definition of a privilege is. A right is a power, privilege, faculty, or demand inherent in one person and incident upon another. Generally defined as power or free action, something you have the sovereign authority to do because there is no higher authority to get permission from. In other words, there is nobody for you to ask permission. Another word for this is sovereign authority. You are endowed by your Creator with certain unalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In other words, there are some things, some freedoms that God has given you that you do not have to ask anyone permission to do. Now, this definition is the exact opposite of a privilege. A privilege is a particular benefit or advantage enjoyed by a person, company, or class beyond the common advantage of other citizens. An exceptional or extraordinary power or exemption, a particular right, advantage, exemption, power, franchise, or immunity held by a person or a class not generally possessed by others. A temporary authority granted to you by someone of higher authority. Example, if I step out of my house onto my land, I can walk around on it all day long. Do I have to ask anyone permission? No, because it is owned by me. It is my land. Seems I own the property, I have a right to do anything with it I please. Now, if you live next door to me and you end in the land beside me, do I have the right to walk across your land? No! I would have to get your permission first. Now, you may give me permission to walk on your land, but even then, I do not have a right to be there. In this case, I would have the privilege. And that privilege can be taken away at any time you so choose, and I have no say in the matter. Privilege from permission. Permission from permit. Permit from property. Do you get it now? So, For me, walking across your land is a privilege granted to me by someone of higher authority, i.e., you, the owner of the land. But nowadays, the government has many people convinced that we have certain rights granted to us by the government. Nothing could be further from the truth. The government gets its power from we the people. And we the people have the right given to us from our Creator. Like it or not, believe in God or not, that's how it's written in the Declaration and in the Constitution. You have a right to life because your body is your property. You have the right to eat, yes, if it is your food, but you do not have the right to walk into a restaurant and say, feed me for free, because it is not your food. It is not your property. You do not have the right to anyone else's property. That is an oxymoron. Likewise, do you have a right to free healthcare? No. You can't just walk into a doctor's office and say, cure me for free. Do you know why? Because someone has to pay the doctor. Because it is his property, his equipment, and medical care is his skill. How would you like it if someone walked into your business and demanded goods and services for free? You may say, oh, the doctors get paid, so it's not for free. My question to you would be, who's paying the doctor? Your only answer could be that the government pays for it. Which leads me to my last question. Where does the government getting the money from? The answer, taxes. Now consider this. If I do not own something, meaning it is not my property, and property doesn't have to be land, by the way. It can be something as small and insignificant as a pen. And I take it without the owner's permission, what am I doing? Stealing. So, if the government takes money, i.e. taxes, out of your hard-earned paycheck without your permission, what are they doing? Stealing. It does not even matter if they have a noble use for money. It is still stealing. Think about it. Do you have the right to somebody else's goods and services? No. Not even if the government is giving it to you. You only have the right to your property. Therefore, one must conclude that you do not have a right to free healthcare. You do not have a right to free education. So, the next time you're wondering whether you do or don't have the right, ask yourself this question. Who owns the property? I'm Griff and Voorhees, and I approve this message.